What is fear? It is described as an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. In order to face our fears, it is important to understand what triggers them. Sometimes fear can be overcome, and sometimes it cannot. Whether or not you can live with this is the question. On this week's episode of Onward with Onrie, that is exactly what I'm going to explore, and I'm bringing you along for the ride. Today's scenic episode takes place in the beautiful state of Colorado, where I brought my gorgeous wife to celebrate her birthday. This enchanted getaway was a great opportunity for us to recreate and enjoy the outdoors. It also gave me some insight on how to face and overcome some of my own fears on and off the battlefield of Kompan. I've never been for the outdoors until I met my wife. I grew up in the flatland of Illinois, and throughout my life saw lots of movies about mountain climbing that looked cool, but never really got me interested in doing it myself, especially after hearing stories of people falling to their deaths while climbing Mount Everest. I am perfectly fine with the comfort of the indoors. I am as domesticated as they come, and so one of the greatest fears I had about venturing to Colorado with my wife was whether or not I could actually keep up with her, because unlike me, she loves being outdoors and grew up around mountains. Little did I know that by the end of this trip, I will end up climbing up a small section of the Rocky Mountains, which is a small feat for an experienced hiker, but a big deal for me. Let's go back to the first question I asked. What is fear? I believe that fear is not just an unpleasant emotion, but a warning that actually helps protect us when something isn't right. With the right approach, developing these senses can help you tremendously. That right approach is to come to the realization that in some cases, fear can be overcome, but in many other cases, it cannot. I've never generally been afraid of heights, but I am afraid of what I don't know. And when it comes to climbing mountains, there's a lot I don't know. Climbing up one or two doesn't make me an expert, and if I wasn't afraid, I'd be pretty foolish. Fear can keep us in check. When it comes to business, I have a saying. If you don't take care of your business will not take care of you. Right now, I'm a little nervous because over the course of the last few shows, I've saved up money to reprint some books, and now all that money I saved up is invested. It took me 4 weeks to earn this money, and with the click of my finger, all of it was gone. I know I'll get the books I ordered and that they'll sell, but I'm still fearful of what kinds of things I may have overlooked, and fearful of what dangers may put my business at risk. And there is no overcoming that. Even after 10 years, I'm still afraid for my business every single day. If I let up, things will stop. I am the driving force that brings my business to life. So if I fall off a mountain, that would really not be cool. At one point during one of our hikes, we reached this peak that was just covered with loose rocks, which is our only way across. One foolish misstep and that's it. And the higher up I went, the harder it got for me to not give in to my fear. I felt my fear of heights kick in and thought, what the hell did I get myself into? Now that I knew what I was afraid of, I knew that the only way across was to focus on my steps and to just keep breathing, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Eventually I made it across, and while my hikes with Hanima were not life-threatening, they were challenging. I've developed a real appreciation for hiking after this trip, but my fears of what could happen are not gone, and to be honest, I hope they never will be. Just because I have fears doesn't mean I can't live with them. Some fears deserve to be challenged, while others exist for our own protection. Look deep within yourself, and you too can evaluate what fears keep you safe, which ones don't, and which ones can be overcome. In a couple of weeks, I will be taking on the 1500 comic book battle for the third time this year without the help of a sales team at New York Comic Con. I have big plans for this show and want to try and bring even more graphic novels with me so that I can replenish my reserve and not have to worry about production costs that will accumulate over the winter, as well as setup costs for the 2020 convention season. In order to do this, I have to challenge myself and face my own fears. Prior to New York Comic Con, I have a show this weekend in Cincinnati, and the majority of inventory I'm bringing with me is graphic novels. From my experience, I find that selling single issues is a lot easier than moving graphic novels. Graphic novels tend to be far more expensive, and getting someone to invest in them is a lot more difficult. Therefore, I need to face my fear of having a really low closing ratio for this show by lowering my expectations and just doing my best. That's all I can do. Over the course of the 4 shows I did in August, I realized that my graphic novel sales have been going over very well. I now want to challenge myself and see how many I can sell if I just focus on it. I am afraid, but this is a fear that I know I can overcome. If I'm being honest, I'm afraid before any show I do. It doesn't matter how many times I've done the show before either. As I've said many times, there is no guarantee that I will ever perform well at any show I do. The fact of the matter is that I'm taking a risk and hoping that there is a payoff in the end. So far, I've been lucky, and I have confidence that I'll continue to be lucky, and I owe that confidence to my fear. That is what is keeping me safe and allowing me to challenge myself. Sometimes I look at how far I've come, and it honestly freaks me out because I still feel like I have so much to learn. If I didn't feel this fear, I don't think I would be able to make progress. The bottom line is that not all fear is bad. It must all be judged and prioritized by the individual. Recognizing the different levels and types of fears that exist within you and evaluating them yourself is the key to acquiring strength and power on the battlefield. Remember this as you continue on your journey. All right, Victory Seekers, we have ventured far together today. I am now off to answer the call to arms at Cincinnati Comic Expo, where I'll be putting my theory to the test in order to prepare for the greatest challenge I've yet to face as a comic showman. I'll be sure to share my findings with you on next week's episode, so until then, onward to victory.